Hey everybody, welcome back, MEB Pod. Another episode. It's going to be another short one, but I'm happy to be here. Like I said, I am trying to get one of these out every week. Hopefully, someone gets something out of this one. Again, not prepared. I know I said last week I was going to be. It's been a busy week for me this past week down here with work and whatever. So, but regardless, like I said, I'm going to get something out. Hopefully some time frees up a little bit within the next couple of weeks and I'll be able to actually get prepared for these things and spit some more things out, But at the end of the day, more or less, nothing's really changed here other than the fact that I'm getting closer to my Washington trip, which I'm looking really, really forward to. It's going to be exciting, I'll be a little less busy, but at the same time, I'll be just as busy as I always am, just because, when I'm on vacation, I don't stop. I just keep moving. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be, let's see, one day, about 5 days I'll be gone, but like the whole 5 days, I probably won't get much sleep just because I've already got a lot planned. Might even go to the University of Washington's football game. That's a new thing I might be doing. So looking really forward to that, depending on time, of course. But, the Creator Classic does start today. We've got a lot of YouTube golf news, some baseball news. We've got some NFL news, a bunch of stuff going out there in the sports world. But with my birdie and my double bogey, of course, I'll start with that. The double bogey, I just haven't had time to really prepare for any of these things, these podcasts or whatever this is. Hopefully I can get more time. Hopefully I can get better quality. I know my last video I posted last week, the quality of the video was a little low. I don't know what happened. I'm not really sure. Still kind of working the kinks out on all this. So, if that would be kind of like my double bogey for my video editing quality. I'm not really sure how to fix that. So if anyone out there knows about editing videos and the quality or how to fix it, let me know because I need the help. But the birdie is just the fact that I'm able to, get this out there. It really, listen to all these podcasts, like the Brilliantly Dumb Show. I listen to the Foreplay Pod. I listen to some of these other, like the Makeshift Project. These two kids from Jersey. And it's like it's amazing how they get together every single week at a certain time, and they spit out an hour of good quality content, stuff that people want to hear, and it's consistency is the key thing, and the more they do it, the better they get, and that's what I'm trying to do here, and so I'm just looking forward to keep doing this. Like I said, it's probably not the best or even most at all informative to anybody out there, but the more I'm doing this, the better I'm getting with it. I'm kind of putting myself out there. Like I said, I don't really have much to talk about, but I enjoy it. So with that being said, we too have a little bit to get into. The Creator Classic is started today out there in East Lake Golf Club out there in Atlanta. They had a playoff, one position left, and the Short Game King actually won the playoff to get. It was able to get into the Creator Classic as like the 8th spot. So I believe there's 8. I'm not sure. I didn't even really bother to look at the roster, but I know like Garrett Clark from Good Goods there. or GM Golf, whatever you want to call them. You got Sabrina Andolfo from the Golf Girl Games. You've got Roger Steele, I believe, is in there. The Short Game King. So Roger Steele, Short Game King. Sabrina, GM Golf. You got Gabby Golf Girls 5. I'm pretty sure there's another girl in there. But, I'm looking forward to that. I haven't recorded tonight, so I'll be able to get home and watch it tonight. I'm looking forward to those. Are always fun to watch because you get to see people from that are a little more relatable, that are, are some of them are pretty good golfers, but they're not as good enough to either get on the PGA or LPGA tours. And, it's exciting to watch some of these people play. We did the Internet Invitational presented by Bob Does Sports and Barstool has been finished, or it is finished, and will be uploaded. I am not sure when, but that is another thing I'm looking forward to. YouTube Golf. You had about 48 creators. That's going to be a pretty, unbelievable. I believe it's going to be one of the best things to be put on YouTube for YouTube Golf. It's going to be. For sure the Jet and some of the guys from Barstool are working hard to finish that, to get that out here. You probably won't see them for a little while just because they're going to be so busy with the editing part of the Internet Invitational. And I listened to the Brilliantly Dumb show last night, and they mentioned something about how Bob thinks that YouTube, we had the UFC had just gotten bought out by Paramount Plus, or partnered with Paramount Plus. So all of the pay-per-views are now going to be on Paramount Plus. They went from Paramount Plus used to be $7.99. It's going to be $12.99 because I believe, with UFC being in there, they're going to need to bump the prices up a little bit, which is understandable. But still, if you're looking at $13 a month for 12 months, it's not as bad as paying $80 a fight. So if you were to pay for, I think I did the math. If you pay every fight. If you did the pay-per-view for every fight of the year, it's like $1,800 a year. So it's well worth it if you're gonna, in the UFC. I'm not the biggest UFC guy, but for people who watch it every weekend, you'll get all the prelims, of course, on ESPN, and then you'll get the pay-per-views on Paramount Plus, which Bob mentioned that it is one of those things that he thinks that YouTube Golf will end up going to, whether it's Paramount Plus or, because it is getting so big that these things will be, they want to do live, like the Internet Invitational. He thinks it's going to be so big that, because people wanted the Internet Invitational to be a live event, but teams like Barstool and Bob Does Sports are not ready yet. That's why people like the Creator Classic that we have going on tonight. They're partnered with the PGA Tour and CBS and have like the best of the best cameras and all the equipment for things like that, to where Bob Does Sports and Foreplay at Barstool are not ready yet for live events. Can they do it? Probably, sure, but the quality and the everything won't be like they want, like it should be, or like it's presented on TV. So eventually, Bob thinks that it will be eventually, maybe down the road, aired on one of these big networks, and that would be really neat to see. We need to get MEB Golf out there, with one of these guys, and we'll start working together, and hopefully one of these days I can get out there playing live with these guys and in one of these little content creator classics or invitationals. Obviously. I know, I'm not the best. I don't have the best swing. I don't have the best handicap or whatever, but it's not really more or less about that. It's about going out there and having fun. And I know all these content creators, even the Grant Horvats and the George Bryan and Wesley Bryan, who actually have played on the PGA Tour events and won. Wesley has won an event on the PGA Tour. They know they're not the best in the world. They love doing this because they love doing YouTube Golf. They know it's a better quality of life, I guess, is what they have, what Wesley has said for him and his family. And I think that's a great way to reach out to the the youth, the younger generation, the people who are getting into the game of golf. Because not everyone likes to watch 18 holes of stroke play on every event, every weekend. Because I get it. It can get a little boring because of how good these guys are. Now, when you're seeing guys play some of the best courses, like George and Wesley and Grant, they do a making the cut series where they go to all these U.S. Open courses, and they try to make the cut for. I think they just did one at Pebble Beach. And they go back to whatever the last time the U.S. Open was there, and they play 2 rounds, and they try to make the cut. And it's just a little fun way of twisting the game of golf that we all love. And I thought that was kind of neat. I watched the Chambers Bay one a couple of days ago just because I wanted to try to get a little study in for my round here in a couple of weeks. So really looking forward to that. Golf is just... It really is a game of, that humbles you and really kind of opens your eyes to other outlets, not just in the game of golf, but in like the whole networking thing. It is a big thing. It's not just a game. It's a game. I know people play it just because their bosses play it, or they try to network themselves into other bigger, better opportunities, and that's more or less kind of what I'm trying to do. Other than the fact that I do love playing the game and getting better at it, at least I can chop it up with the best, when it comes to at least talking about it, at least. But, I'll kind of move on with a little baseball. I was able to attend a Cardinal game. Cardinals were down here in Miami the last, yesterday and today and tomorrow. It was nice to see them again. I know they haven't been playing the best baseball, but they were able to win when I went 8-3, and they won yesterday 7-4, 7-3, 7-4, I think, and they got one coming up. I believe they're playing right now, or in a couple hours. So looking forward to hopefully they can sweep the Marlins here. The only time I don't root against root for the Marlins is when the Cardinals are in town. So I am hoping that if they can somehow pull off a sweep against the Marlins, they got a tough road ahead. They got, I think, the Brewers coming up, which they have not yet to lose. They still can't lose for some reason. So, they can take a couple more. They can maybe sneak in there, get a wild card, and who knows from there. We could always, pull off a miracle and somehow take it to the World Series. I don't know. We'll see. So hopefully the Cardinals keep playing better. So that was a nice game to attend. I will be seeing them in Seattle here in a couple weeks too. So that'll be a nice little treat for myself. That'll be, hopefully they're still in it, because that'll be towards more the end of the season. We do have a little NFL news, I guess. The Brownies did decide to choose Joe Flacco as their starting QB for Week 1, which is big news, because Shador had played well, but he got a little injured, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Shador can do this year. I'm sure he'll get out there eventually. If Joe Flacco starts to struggle or something, Shador will be right there because, the fans are wanting it. We do have the NFL season starting soon, so I am looking forward to that. I believe they announced the Colts did announce their starting QB. Anthony Richardson will be on the bench to start the season, and that makes Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback for your Indianapolis Colts. We have the I think I saw, who did I see that? Oh, and then Notre Dame had got their starting quarterback against Miami, which is in 15 days or something. So that'll be a nice little fun matchup to watch. The Catholics versus convicts in Week 1. It's a great starting games for the college football season too. So we got a lot of things ahead of us. With football, golf, and the East Lake, the playoffs. Speaking of East Lake, I guess we can dive into a little bit PGA Tour golf. I know I'm kind of a little bit all over the place, but that was the Scotty Scheffler show again. Of course, I was talking to my father on Saturday or the day before Saturday, Friday night, and he was a couple strokes back of the lead, probably 7 strokes back of the lead on Friday. And I said, well, it's Scotty Scheffler. He's going to get, he'll be there in the end. And Then Saturday he was getting closer, and I said, I think he was 3 strokes or 4 strokes behind, and I said, well, Sunday, he'll end up pulling through somehow, and look what he did. He popped there on the 17th hole, and chipped in on the 17th hole and kind of called it a day, and it was one of the best finishes he's ever had all season. Scott gives a reason why Scotty Scheffler is the number 1 golfer in the world. I'm looking forward to seeing him probably finish the job here at East Lake here in Atlanta or in Georgia here in in this weekend. It'll be a nice, exciting, and then of course to follow up with that, we do have the Ryder Cup. My favorite time of the year. I absolutely love the United States versus Team Europe. I think it's one of the best tournaments they have. It happens every other year. They have this year, they'll have the Ryder Cup. Next year, they'll have the President's Cup, which is USA versus everyone else in the world besides the Europeans. So you've got like the Asians, the Canadians, the best of the best, except for Europeans, which is not. It's still a nice, fun tournament, but it's for whatever reason doesn't have the same excitement as maybe the Ryder Cup might, just because I think the Europeans really bring the heat when it comes to the stardom and the players, and then the passion for the game and the tournament itself. So that'll be up at Bethpage Black up in New York. So that is an exciting. Hopefully, one of these days I'm able to make it to a Ryder Cup. That is a bucket list item to go attend one of those. And then on other news, we have the PGA Tour returning to Miami here at Trump Doral. That is one thing I am really, really looking forward to. The schedule just came out. I believe they're returning to Doral here in Trump. It's about 3 weeks after the Masters. It is an elevated event, so it is worth 700 points on the FedEx Cup standings, which is big. It's huge for the city of Miami. To bring in, probably it'll bring in the best of the best players, just because it's worth 700 points. Your Scotty Schefflers and everyone should be there. Now, regardless if they are or not, I'm still going to be attending there. I will be at that tournament, that's for sure. And then I noticed that the St. Louis, my hometown, is going to be getting the PGA back in the playoffs. It'll be the second week of the playoffs. So like this past week was in Memphis. It'll be in St. Louis this year at Belle Reve Country Club. So that's exciting news for the city of St. Louis to have another PGA event there, hosted there. That'll be a nice little fun tournament. Hopefully, maybe if I can somehow make it back home for a week or a weekend, I can maybe go to that event too. So I might be able to hit up 2 PGA events, maybe 3, depending on where my golf trips decide. Maybe I'll try to plan one around a golf trip at a baseball game or something next season. So I'll have to look down at the list of events, and maybe I'll travel to Pennsylvania or something and hit up a Pirates or a Phillies game or something. That'll be kind of neat. I know they always have a tournament up there at Quail, or maybe, North Carolina. They don't really have any baseball, but we'll figure something out, and hopefully we can plan our next trip. I was thinking maybe Pennsylvania. I was thinking Philadelphia. I think that'll be my best bet. Then I can maybe drive over to New Jersey and play up there, South New Jersey or something. So I can hit up maybe 2 states in 1 week and play some golf and watch some golf and play some baseball and watch some baseball. With that being said, you got some quality golf content coming up soon with the Premier Classic and the Internet Invitational. We do got some playoff baseball coming up, and of course the beginning of NFL season, and NBA and NHL are right around the corner as well. So this is kind of one of my favorite times of the year, with the playoff golf, playoff baseball, NFL season starting, college football, and hockey and NBA starting here soon. So with that being said, like I said, I'm going to cut it short. No guests today, so hopefully I can continue to keep pushing these out, get some more guests on here, because that's what I like to do. I like to talk with people and get to know what they do, why they like golf, their kind of passions and other insights of maybe their sports and stuff. So with that being said, I will be exiting out of this little podcast episode. Thank you all for listening. Please subscribe, like, share, follow, whatever you got to do to help out MVP Golf. That will be very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much again for listening. Have a great rest of your day.